And we're up at the crack of dawn again here in the north. And this is the side view of the Oscar Flowerhorn Silver Dollar freaking parrotfish community tank. Their conditions are as beautiful as they are upstairs with the discus. Because we run these tanks down here the same way. Now they don't need as much work, thankfully. Let's have a look at her eye injury here. She seems to be doing a lot better today. She's not, she's up, she's about, she's swimming around. Swelling's gone down considerably. And the blackness is returning to her pupil. So, all very good. I was worried she might lose that eye. It was pretty bad. She hurt it pretty bad. So, hopefully that'll keep her from jumping. Lesson learned. Well, like I said, I think she just had a bad dream. And unfortunately, that was the Oscar equivalent of a black eye. A really bad one. So, I'm glad to see she's pulling through. And that's the difference. An injury like that, if my tank was dirty, her eyeball would have just gotten right infected. And she could have lost the eye. The infection would have went into her brain, maybe killed her. But it could have been bad. But thankfully, I keep my fish in impeccably clean conditions, so when something like this happens, the chance of infection is much lower. This fish just continues to amaze me. He is so awesome. The peaceful flowerhorn. It's possible. Fish are like people. Unfortunately, a lot of flowerhorns end up a little closer to being pit bulls, and they beat everyone up. But this one is just absolutely stunning when it comes to the colors, so I lucked out there. I was worried he wasn't going to grow a good horn, but he's growing a good horn. Nice fat cheeks on him. God knows how big he'll get. He's a king Campha, so he's not going to be one of the little ones. As you can see, he's already approaching average Oscar size, which is, I believe, what they're supposed to get to. So like that copper one back there, he's probably going to max out around that size. See, he's close to full grown, but he ain't there yet. Probably know in another 6 months. What a beautiful fish. And as a tiny baby, I paid hundreds of dollars for him. And I go around seeing babies that size, just normal flowerhorns, and they're selling them for, $30, $40 each. This guy's special. He's I seen them. They had a similar sized flowerhorn as him, in the blue, not nearly as nice coloring as him, and they were selling him for $450. And he really didn't look nearly as good. His horn was a little more developed, though. Look at those silver dollars. Just gorgeous. My little ones are growing. They're a slow growing fish, let me tell you. But they're catching up. They're starting to get there. Another 6 months with those, and they'll all start to look closer to the same size. This aquarium is just doing amazing. Silver dollars. A lot of people don't like them because they're hard to keep alive. What happens a lot of times is that you'll start to see, what happens with these guys, is you'll start to see these white patches on them. If you're not looking after your water properly, it's kind of how they get hole in the head. And then once those white patches show up, their fins will start to rot. And it's fungal. They're very prone to fungal issues. And it's all water quality related. So a lot of people won't keep silver dollars, or they try and they just don't last because they don't keep up with their maintenance. But they're way easier to keep than discus fish. So shouldn't be able to do this. I shouldn't be able to put this many Oscars in a tank like this. I shouldn't be able to keep a flower horn with this many Oscars in a tank like this. Everybody's peaceful. Everybody gets along. Because it's all about the water. That's why they want you to have a big tank with Oscars. It's about the water. They want the volume. If you have the volume, it takes longer to foul. If you filter it properly, it takes longer to foul. If you slam it with UV, it takes way longer to foul. I could fill this tank up with plants, and it wouldn't do half the job at cleaning my water that the UV's doing. And because they're Oscars and silver dollars, I don't have, and a flower horn, and every fish in this tank will destroy plants. Every single one of them. So I can't. I can have a refugium, but I don't need it. Because I use anoxic materials, and materials that create anoxic bacteria in my super sump to deal with everything that the plant community claims plants are going to do for them. An anoxic setup is far superior to an overplanted tank. An overplanted tank has all kinds of drawbacks. I don't hate plants. I just think that people give them too much credit in this community. They're like, oh, plants are just wonderful. They're going to do everything. No, they're helpful. They're pretty. They look nice. If you can keep, like, I've got some plants up in the discus tank, very limited selection because of the temperatures up there, but I have some because plants look nice. I put some fake ones in here just because it makes things look nice. But do you think they're saving? If you think they're saving you from all kinds of problems, the truth is, if you just overload your tank with plants, you're creating more problems than you're going to save. For example, at nighttime when the lights go out, plants stop producing oxygen, start using oxygen, start producing CO2. You get a tank full of plants and a tank full of fish. It's not going to add up well. What's going to happen is there's not going to be enough oxygen in the water for both of them, and the fish are going to die. You'll get to that point. Plants will grow and grow and grow. And, if you just keep up with your plant maintenance, which is a nightmare, extra work, a lot of extra work. Sure, that won't happen to you, but all the additives, all the added expense, And really all you end up with is something closer to a swamp tank than actually clean water. Oxygen deprived water, phosphate issues. Plants should eat it all up, mind you, but once the roots all start rotting and you're a few years in, the equation changes and you end up with a problem tank. Especially if you're overloading plants because you're trying to avoid maintenance. Short-term benefit, long-term nightmare. That's what you're going to get. A modest amount of plants just to make it look nice. That's all you need. Don't depend on them to keep your fish alive. Because what you end up doing is you have to spend so much of your time, so much of your effort on the plants that you start sacrificing your fish.